Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Stephanie Ganowski, sexologist and sex coach for men, and today I'm going to blow your mind by telling you that just because she's having multiple orgasms does not mean she's enjoying sex. So getting into today's topic, you might be a little mind blown already because often when I share this with guys, they're like, wait, what are you talking about? And I want to explain it. So what happens is men get so fixated on their female partner's orgasm. It becomes the obsession. And as the guy, you probably know that you are also obsessed with performing so you can get to the point of giving her that orgasm or multiple orgasms so you can feel better about yourself in bed and as a man. It's really messed up, right? Because it's you thinking you have to perform and just know her body and not have to ask any questions, not have to talk about sex, not have to ask or check in if she's enjoying it because that would be weird. No. You have to do all these things. They're really important to create a healthy sex relationship and also healthy sex confidence, because if you're constantly playing this guessing game and you're never actually talking to her to check in to see how she's feeling, then you're never going to really know. And then she might stop having sex with you and you have no clue why, because you're like, I was doing everything right. She was having orgasms. She never said anything. But if you don't open the dialogue, if one of you is not opening up the dialogue and you're both staying silent, chances are problems will occur and you'll slowly drift apart sexually. It happens to every single couple. This is totally normal. The healthiest couples that last the longest in their sex life and in their relationships are the ones that talk about things. They handle conflict together because they create a space to handle the conflict. So anyway, getting back to our topic of orgasm specifically, I was in a relationship personally where I had multiple orgasms with this guy every time we had sex. And it wasn't him that was providing those for me. Like, was he physically stimulating me? Yes. But my body was just in a place of easily receiving that from anyone. I was just hyper stimulated physically. And I used that sense of relief in our sex life as a way to try to bond with him. But mentally, I was disassociated. I really don't like him. I don't like our relationship. I don't feel emotionally safe in our relationship. I don't enjoy this sex. It doesn't feel connected because I feel so disrespected by him. I don't feel loved by him. I don't feel appreciated by him. There were all these feelings about the relationship that did not feel right. And although we were having sex consistently at this time, I was in my early 20s at this point, and even though we were having consistent sex and I was having consistent orgasms, I would fall asleep literally crying, feeling so upset about our relationship, and never looking back at our sex and being like, oh my God, that was amazing. I would orgasm all the time. I had so many orgasms during that sex. I never, ever think back to this day about our sex life at all with this person, because it's just like, I despised that relationship. That relationship was so disconnected. So see how I was not enjoying the sex. Even at that time, I was not enjoying it. Was I feeling release in the moment and sexual pleasure in that present moment of having orgasms? Yeah, it's an orgasm. But if you look back and you don't respect the person you're in that sexual relationship with, or you don't feel loved or cared for or connected, that's going to affect your enjoyment of the sex as a whole. It's not all about the orgasm. See where I'm going with this? So if you just obsess over the orgasm and you only look out for signs that she's having an orgasm, so, oh yeah, she must enjoy it. No, doesn't mean she's enjoying it. You need to talk to her. You need to understand, like, how are you feeling about our sex life? It could be as simple as that, you know? It doesn't have to be some crazy list of questions. But if we don't at least feel comfortable to check in once in a while with the person we're having consistent sex with and just be like, hey, I'm just curious, how do you feel about our sex life? Do you find it pleasurable? Is there something you wanted to try? Like anything that's not really doing it for you? Those are 3 questions that are great, because one is what's most pleasurable. You know, you're finding out what actually is the most pleasurable or enjoyable. You could ask it that way too. Asking, is there anything else you want to try? That can be a good way to introduce some novelty and some newness to spice things up so that you don't fall into the same routine every single time. And then a critique, you know, opening the door for space to leave a critique where you're okay with that. If she were to say something like, well, I really don't like how you do this, or when you do this, it doesn't really get me going. It doesn't do much for me. If you could do it like this instead, that would be great. That's criticism, but it's constructive because she's telling you how to do it differently. And if she doesn't tell you how how to do it differently and she's just like, I'm not a fan of how you do this, then really try to take that with curiosity. Don't get all offended. Like, just see it as you open the door to safe communication. So if she tells you, hey, I really don't like the way you're doing this, it's not doing anything for me or my body, then ask. Be curious, like, oh, really? Like, how do you want me to do it instead? Or like, how would you prefer I do it? Like this, up and down instead? Have a conversation. We get so wrapped up in, oh my God, if I receive criticism, it means I suck in bed. It means I don't know what I'm doing. It means I'm lousy. We just make up all these conclusions about us being a bad person or being a bad partner or bad in bed, when no one person is going to do everything perfectly in a sex relationship with someone else. It's just not going to happen. It's not possible for anyone. You have to communicate. When you communicate, you actually get the answers that help you become a better partner, help you become more skilled during sex, and help you connect better with that person. You build trust, you build more sexual chemistry, you build more desire for each other because you know, and you feel confidence because you know what you want. But there's a certain level of confidence that comes sexually when you know exactly what your sex partner wants because they literally told you. You're not just going off of, oh, she moans really loud during sex. That doesn't mean shit. You know how many people moan just to like put on a show? Like, it's fake. It's just, you don't want to rely on these body movements. You don't even want to rely on wetness, because arousal non-concordance is a real thing where it means if she's super wet, she could be mentally not turned on. There are times like I'm walking around during the day, and any woman will agree with me. I'm walking around during the day and all of a sudden I get really wet for I'm not horny. I'm not turned on. I'm just like, oh shit, okay, wipe this up. It's just something that the body does sometimes. When other times, if I'm having sex with my boyfriend and I'm dry, but I'm super aroused, that also can happen. So that's also a thing where it's like, oh my God, I'm so horny. Like, let me get the lube to help myself out, because I'm not naturally lubricating. So there's sometimes this arousal non-concordance happens where a woman's really dry and it has an inability to get wet in that moment, but she's mentally very aroused and like she wants to be wet. So don't take that personally. Just have a good lube on hand so that you can handle that when the time comes. And then, like I said, there's also times when she's really wet, but she's not turned on mentally. So don't rely on, oh my God, she's so wet, I'm the man. Like, I know it helps your ego. I know it helps you, feel like, oh, I got her so wet. We just don't want to rely on that because there are times she's just not going to be into it, but she will be very wet physically. So you want to not go about the non-verbal stuff and the body stuff. Like, don't count on that. Count on the verbal communication. Count on the words and the information you're getting from her mouth to your ears. Count on that most for your sex confidence and for you improving your sex life, because that's the truest. It's going to be the best way for you to improve your sex relationship with this person and with your future partners. So hope this was helpful. I hope I didn't make you feel like, oh fuck, now I can't rely on this or that. But at least, I'm just being upfront and honest with you so that you guys know how important communication is with your partner and how important it is to talk about sex for your confidence. So you're never playing guessing games. You're getting straight answers and you know how to ask the right questions to get straight answers. That's all for this video. Thanks for listening, and I will see you in the next one.